Hello. Last week I introduced the subject of niche fragrances. If you missed that and are interested, then you can click this link that will take you to that video. This week I am extremely excited because I have a spectacular fragrance for you to discover from the niche house of Amouage, which happens to be one of my favorites. If you like your fragrances regal, profound, and that take you to another level, then stick around to hear everything I have to say about Fate by Amouage. Before I delve into today's fragrance, I would like to give you a little bit of background on the exceptional house of Amouage. It was established in 1983 by the Sultan of Oman himself, His Highness Saeed Hamad bin Ahmad Al Busaid, in order to showcase and preserve the Arabian art of perfumery, which is typically opulent, complex, and very powerful. It also referred to the traditional expertise in specific materials such as agar wood, from which oud is derived, musk, rose, a variety of spices, and incense. This is not a fragrance to wear just to smell nice. This is about the prestige of wearing history and art in its finest form. The brand itself refers to its repertoire of fragrances as the gift of the kings. There is a strong focus on legacy, and each detail is refined and considered. It is this posture and perspective on perfumery as a higher art that I strongly identify with, and that makes this one of my favorite brands of all time. Fate for Women by Amouage was created in 2013 by the perfumer Dorothée Pio. But before I get into the scent, I would like to give you a moment to appreciate the splendor of this magnificent bottle. It is made of very heavy glass with an iridescent soap bubble-like sheen on it. It's semi-transparent, so the color of the liquid kind of emanates through. And on the front you have this embossed gold plaque with the logo of the brand. The lid is a very heavy metallic lid that is magnetic and clicks into place, and there is a Swarovski on the top that matches the iridescent coloring of the bottle. The name of the brand is written on the bottom here, and the name of the fragrance on the side. The shape of the bottles for the female fragrances of the brand are always in this shape, but different colorings. And this shape makes reference to the Palace Rui Mosque in Muscat. The bottle then sits in a velvet pedestal inside a box. It is a very sturdy box and is covered in gilded pictures: the sun, moon, and stars, Pegasus, and all sorts of other esoteric pictures and symbolisms, which give the whole presentation a very mythical kind of feel. It is by far the most beautiful object in my collection. So I'm going to explore the scent now, and obviously this is not a first impression. I've smelt this fragrance extensively and have had time to really observe it in the long run and in the dry down. But there is definitely a very cinnamon forward opening that is really reminiscent of vintage orientals such as opium and cinnabar, but that quickly dissipates because you have a very vibrant peppercorn note coming through, along with red chili pepper and a very lush, juicy bergamot. Then the heart notes come through quite quickly, starting with narcissus. That's one of my favorite florals. It's so rich and hypnotizing. It is a very warm, rich floral that often has a bit of an animalic nuance to it, which is very intriguing, and you definitely get that here. Then it's joined with an ambery note of labdanum, and labdanum is a resin that is derived from a small shrub, also called rock rose or cistus. And in this case, it's quite a leathery amber. Again, it's so comforting. It's like sitting on a lovely leather club sofa with your favorite dog. It's warm and comforting. These are paired with other very distinguished types of florals, like rose. There is a strong yet quiet rose that is paired with a more dynamic, bracing lavender, which is very beautiful, kind of masculine. And there's also a hint of jasmine, and it's a soapy green jasmine that peeks through every so often and gives the composition a bit of a patinaed effect, which is very rounded and rich feeling. About 15 to 20 minutes in, the bass notes begin to emerge. And this is when you sigh and you have to acknowledge that this fragrance is a monarch. The composition of the base of this fragrance is very contrasted. It's rather unusual because fragrances usually have quite a simple base that have a more supporting role. But in this case, you have light and dark, and it starts off with a very bright benzoin note. And benzoin is a resin that gives an ambery effect. But in this case, it's a very bright and uplifting kind of amber, almost Coca-Cola-like. And that is paired with a very leathery, very warm and rich castoreum note. And it is so beautiful in this fragrance that it began my love with this very controversial note. So for those of you who don't know, castoreum is a very intense, rich, leathery, animalic note that some people think smells like poo and was originally derived from the lymphatic glands of a beaver. This practice is illegal nowadays for obvious reasons, and so a synthetic substitute is used. Although this note wasn't very popular for a very long time, it has made a huge comeback alongside other animalics and is unrivaled in the intimacy and warmth it gives a fragrance. Some people, like myself, think that it also gives a wildly sexual undertone to a fragrance. There is a beautiful bed of very earthy patchouli, like freshly turned soil. And there's also a sumptuous layer of oak moss. Now, oak moss is a bitter note and immediately takes a composition into the realm of a style called les chyprés. Now, a chypré fragrance is a concept or a style of fragrances that is always built around the same notes, and that core consists of citrus, labdanum, and oak moss. Now, the oak moss is very bitter, and so it needs very clever tailoring and balancing in order to make that bitterness palatable and aesthetic. In this case, there is a very authentic, rich vanilla bean that has been used alongside a sweet incense that is delicate and very enveloping. So who is this fragrance for? Well, if you hate rich or opulent fragrances, then run away. If you stay clear of vintage style fragrances, then this is surely not for you. But if you like to marvel over rich complexities and you feel confident wearing something grand, then this is definitely worth exploring. In fact, you do well to explore the whole brand. Do not blind buy this. There are many challenging notes in it. And because Amouage is so wildly expensive, it would be a real gamble to choose this as a gift for somebody who isn't already acquainted with the scent. Both men and women can comfortably wear this fragrance despite it being marketed for women. You might be interested to know that there is also a male marketed version called Fate Man, but I won't go into that today. So this fragrance has a very surprising subtext. It opens with an impression of huge regal grandeur, like a heavily bejeweled queen that is aloof, but in private likes to wrangle wild horses and is proficient in archery and sword fighting and likes a bit of rough and tumble and gets up to shocking antics behind closed doors. This is not a casual wear and would be completely inappropriate for the office. This is for the woman who shrouds herself in power and enigma. This is old money. My favorite time to wear this fragrance is on a warm summer's evening because I really enjoy how the animalic notes are more pronounced in the heat and blend with my skin under a flowing silk garment. The first 3 hours are very diffusive and fill a room. Despite this, the fragrance is never shrill, choking, or shouty. That said, I never spray more than 3 sprays because this is very powerful stuff. After the 3rd hour, the fragrance settles in a bubble that radiates around you about 1 to 2 arms length, and it stays there for about 2 to 3 hours. Then it settles to a very distinctive skin scent that can easily be picked up on if somebody comes closer to you. On clothes, the fragrance lasts for days. The quality of the juice and the presentation are really outstanding and are well worth the investment if you're feeling spendy. Amouage is a niche brand, which means that it is not as easily accessible as a designer brand that you would find in your regular department store. You are going to have to locate a specialized boutique close to you that stocks the brand. Here in South Africa, we have Skins Cosmetics, which are incredible, and you have branches in Durban, Cape Town, Sandton, and Pretoria. And you can go there in person to discover this amazing perfume and the brand, and hopefully it'll be as mind-blowing for you as it has been for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed putting this video together, and I look forward to next week's video that has a very exciting fragrance in store. And please subscribe if you haven't already so that you can be notified of when that one comes out. I look forward to seeing you. Take care. Bye.